Vladimir Putin? Have you met Vladimir?
Yes, I have.
What's your impression of the guy?
The fact is that he is an old KGB colonel that believes that he wants to restore the Russian Empire, and that's what this is all about, and that's why Ukraine is the key country. Somebody once said, and it's been repeated many times, Russia with Ukraine is an empire, Russia without Ukraine is a country. By the way, I predicted that this would happen because he wasn't going to give up this naval base in Crimea called Sevastopol, which, by the way, wars have been fought over because that's its access to the Mediterranean. And the moral of the story is we just have to understand who he is and what he is. He's not a guy that's interested in democracy. He's a oil and gas company that's part of a country. He wants to expand Russia, whether it be in Moldova, where they've got Russian troops, Georgia, where they've got Russian troops, the Baltics, and other countries in the region. And we just have to understand him for what he is.
Well, help me out with this. The president of the Ukraine, Yanukovych,
yep.
Flees and
had a nice $100 million home. Nice man of the
big, yeah. And he goes to Russia, so he's hiding out. And now, was that all orchestrated by the Russians?
No, he was forced out. He was forced out by the Ukrainian people.
Right, but then
so then he went to
Putin
Russia.
Sees this as a reason then to go into Crimea, saying, well, you have no valid elected leader,
exactly.
So it's up for grabs.
Exactly.
Now, do they want to annex the Crimean Peninsula, or they take the entire Ukraine?
That's the question. I predicted he would take Crimea because of Sevastopol. Now I think the question is does he try to kind of have a de facto partition of eastern Ukraine? And I don't know the answer to that, but there are many things we could do, including sanctions on these corrupt people that are around them that makes it hard for them to do business with the West. Their kids go to school in London. We could make their life very unpleasant for them, and there's a lot of other things we can do. We're still the most powerful nation in the world.
Now, will he hide behind this notion of a referendum in Crimea?
That's an old trick. Hitler used to use that. March into some place, have a referendum. The referendum they're going to have, and I think it's this Sunday, won't be quite like the North Korean election, but I can assure you what the outcome's going to be. I promise you what
because
it will
it's
be.
A heavy concentration of Russian citizens.
It's because they'll rig the election. A lot of the Ukraine, even though they're pro-Russian, they don't want to be part of Russia. They look to Europe and see what life is like there, and they look at Russia and they see what it's like there.
Now, you're president of the United States. This happens. What do you do? Other than the sanctions, nothing else to be done?
We're going to start missile defense again in Poland and the Czech Republic. Have NATO maneuvers in the Baltic countries. Say we'll accelerate Moldova and Georgia into NATO. There's so many things that we could do. Kick him out of the G8. Putin loves to strut on the world stage. Throw him out. Don't let him play that key role. I heard a story from George Bush. George Bush was Putin was in Washington, and little Barney. Remember, little Barney comes out. Putin looks at him. Then George Bush is in St. Petersburg. Out comes this wolfhound, Russian wolfhound, and Putin says, "See, he's big and strong, not like Barney." Now, is that weird or what? I mean, really. I mean, this guy is a megalomaniac, and I think we just have to. And I'm not talking about Cold War or anything like that, but you just have to understand him for what he is, and not think that you can do business with him like you do with other world leaders.
And his impression of the United States now is that we are weak. That we are weak. In fact, you believe that that's where all of this is coming from? He feels like now's the time to be...
I think when the President of the United States said if they use chemical weapons in Syria, it'll cross a red line and we'll have to attack, and then didn't. I think that sent a message around the world. Within 6 months, I think there's going to be a confrontation in the South China Sea between Japan and China. All of these people are encouraged. But again, the strongest nation in the world, still the best country in the world, and I think we can get through it. And we first need to make sure that Putin pays a price for what he's already done, and we don't want him to do anything more.
Was it strange that right after the Olympics, where he's very pleased and proud to show the world what they've accomplished, that this takes place? Or does this indicate that he just is not concerned with what people think of him?
I think both. It was interesting that some of the troops that were protecting Sochi moved right into Crimea. Mm-hmm. Same people. And we just need to, again, understand that we are in a world where Mr. Putin wants to expand his empire. I heard that he was at his treatise in the KGB school that he went to was how Russia will restore its greatness. He said many times the worst disaster of the 20th century was the breakup of the Soviet Union. So we just have to understand him and treat him accordingly.
You were in the Ukraine not so long ago.
300,000 people in a square.
Take a look at this.
There's 200,000 people in that square in the freezing cold, and all they want is to be like Europe. They don't want to be like Russia, and they are marvelous and wonderful people, and a number of those people died in the crackdown that came after that.
How is the Republican Party doing? They just had the big CPAC.
Just united as always.
Is it, I mean, has...
Not a bit of space between us.
Is there truth to... it's easy to assume that the Tea Party now has kidnapped the Republican Party. Is that overstating it?
Yes, because the Tea Party candidates have lost a number of races recently. They're still a significant factor, but they've lost a number, latest being primaries in Texas. But they're still a potent force in the party.
So potent that they're changing the ideology of the Republican Party, or not so potent?
I think that there's a debate going on in our party about the role of government, about both the internationalist versus isolationist, with compromise versus holding the line. When we shut down the government, when the government was shut down, there was no chance we were going to defund Obamacare. We turned away 600,000 people from our national parks in Arizona. Yeah. It cost our state $27 million. It was a fool's errand. So there were those who thought that was a great idea. There was others of us said, look, elections have consequences. Win elections and then we can defund Obamacare.
Are you going to run for re-election?
I'm seriously considering it. As you know, I've been in since the Coolidge administration. so certainly thinking about it.
The Coolidge administration. But you know, a lot of long-time career senators, congressmen, women are leaving saying, you know what, I've had it. Have you reached that point? I guess not.
I love being in the arena. I love it, and I think I've had more effect than I've had most of the time I've been there. And I am the luckiest person you will ever have on your show. Yeah. I am the luckiest person that ever lived, and I'm grateful for every day. And I even appreciate being back on your show after you beat the crap out of me for all those months.
God bless you, Senator. Keep fighting the good fight. No, don't leave yet. We'll be right back with Erin Andrews.